Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to the channel and to another video. Now I'm going to start this video with a bit of a topic that might feel a bit old at this stage and most likely worn out. Now with the rise of AliExpress watches in the last 3 years or so, we all started having more than one or two watches in the collection, and before this we all considered the G-Shock the ultimate beater watch, and no one really placed automatic watches in that category because an auto with the same level of ruggedness would cost you a lot more. But now, with the influx of Chinese brands on the market, you can have an automatic watch with a similar set of tough and rugged features at a more affordable price. I feel that every single watch that is between $100 and $150 can easily fall under that category. This little story wasn't for nothing. The watch we're going to take a look at today is from a brand called Boderry. They have a separate website and you can also find them on AliExpress. This is called the Seaturtle, and this can easily fall under the beater watch category because it has a titanium case, relatively decent lume, and also 100 meters of water resistance. And better yet, on their website, this watch costs $140. Now, before going forward, I do want to mention that this watch has been sent in to me by Boderry for the purpose of this review, and I don't have to return it, hence the paid promotion tag in the corner of the screen. You'll find links down below to their website and to their AliExpress store. Now, how good is this watch? Let's get into the review. I think apart from the specs for the price, what makes this an attractive piece is actually the very familiar design, and by that I mean that one, this is a diver, and two, it has a submariner-like style design. We'll get into this in a little while. Let's go through some dimensions. We have a case diameter of 40 millimeters. We have a lug-to-lug of bang on 48 millimeters. We have a thickness of 12.5 millimeters with a flat sapphire crystal. We have a lug width of 20 millimeters and a weight of 71 grams on the supplied leather strap. There is nothing out of the ordinary here, and these are dimensions that would suit pretty much every wrist, no matter the preference. Also, even though we don't have a very slim movement, they still manage to keep the thickness under 13 millimeters. Now, since the theme here is to go for a beater watch from all angles, I would put its dimensions in the same category. The case sits nicely on my wrist, personally, for this style of watch, and by style I mean for the Submariner case style. I think this is my max. Also, in combination with the low weight, you can genuinely have this on your wrist all day. And speaking of the case, this is an all titanium build with that gunmetal grey color. It has this fine brushed finish, as most titanium cases do, and it's something that I would expect. In a way, it's a good thing since titanium scratches easier than stainless steel, and you will inevitably get scratches on this. These will be harder to notice on the titanium case. At the 3, we have the screw down crown with the Boderry logo, and this is also made out of titanium. One thing that I noticed, and this might be just for me, but this has a different shade of gray compared to the case. It's not a big deal, this is very visible, but I think it's just because the case has a gentle brush finish and the crown doesn't. This is protected by the very familiar looking crown guards, and between this and the screw down case back, we have a stated water resistance of 100 meters. I think this is more than enough for daily use and the occasional dip in the pool. I guess since winter is around the corner for some of us, it doesn't give you that kind of peace of mind. Last thing that I want to cover here before moving on the dial is the bezel, which is also titanium with an aluminium insert. It has the same cog-like edge for perfect grip, and I have to say that this action is quite decent for a titanium bezel. The reason I might sound surprised here is because titanium bezels don't have the best action, and I've heard of more expensive brands with terrible bezel action, so this gets points on this. It also aligns perfectly and it has no backplate whatsoever. Moving on to the dial. This is covered by a flat piece of sapphire crystal without any air coating from what I can see. I mean, there isn't anything specified on the website, and frankly, I'm not expecting it given the price category. Viewing angles are not that bad with those white on black indices, and to be quite honest, I never encountered a watch that has no air and has poor legibility. From my experience, I think this is caused by a combination of a clutter dial, sometimes with the lack of AR. There are a few dial options to choose from, but in my opinion, this one is the best one, maybe because of the Submariner vibes that I'm getting off this. All applied indices with printed minute track on the outside in white. All the indices apart from the 12, 3, 6 and 9 have the same honeycomb shape that is also printed on the dial with some lume, which we'll get into very soon. I like the way the shapes complement each other here, but I don't really see how this ties into the theme of the watch. The hands, in my opinion, also have a borrowed design, which is not necessarily a criticism, but I just don't think they suit the style of the watch, in my opinion. Overall, the dial could be a bit better, and when I say this, I mean that it just feels like it has an identity crisis. One more little comment would be that we also have at the 6 printed in blue the 100 meter water resistance, which is only visible in broad daylight, so that may as well just not be there. The lume is a combination of colors of BG and C3, and these are of course different compounds that just shine in those shades, because for the price I seriously doubt that you would have the two on the same dial. The honeycomb effect is nice, but you only get to see it in a very dark room and only for a very short period of time, because if you blink it's gone. The indices and hands are better, but not by much. The movement in this is a Miyota 8000 series, and this is probably an older version because we don't have the hacking here as this was introduced recently. They usually don't specify that in the listing, but I've had a nice surprise in the past with a Cadison that had hacking, but I wasn't really expecting it. This particular one I have here runs a bit high at plus 25 seconds per day. That is again a bit high, but I still think is within tolerances. I'm sure if I fiddle with it a bit I can probably get it a bit lower, but I'm not really wearing this as a daily, so I wouldn't attempt it. Finally, we get to the strap, which surprisingly for the price, the first thing that you notice is how soft this thing is out of the box. This is a genuine leather strap with 21mm lug with also the titanium hardware with the Boderry logo stamped on the inside. I mean, it's super comfy on the wrist, but one of my main gripes is the fact that it doesn't taper and the buckle and the keepers are super chunky. Actually, the strap itself is too thick for no reason, and I don't really see the point. You can always swap it for a tropic strap. I think that suits it best for the style. Final conclusions here, guys. For an all titanium watch, some would argue that this is actually pretty decent value, and I might agree, but not on all aspects. I'd have loved to see this in your typical 316L stainless steel case, and the rest of the money spent on a better movement like the NH35, which I think some people would appreciate more and would make this a more appealing package. Nevertheless, 140 is not a lot of money, and this is just me nitpicking. Now, that was it from me, guys. That was the review for the Boderry Seaturtle. I hope you enjoyed my review. Leave me a comment down below what you think about the watch and Boderry as a brand, and let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Click a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't so, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.